She stood by the mirror in our bedroom, adjusting the straps of a black lace set I had never seen before. Not once. It wasn't from me. And it wasn't for me. I stood frozen in the hallway, watching her through the narrow gap in the door. She hadn't noticed me yet. The lace wrapped around her waist like it belonged there. Not something you throw on randomly. Not something worn for comfort. This was performance lingerie. The kind you wear when you're trying to be unforgettable. She turned slightly, smoothing the sides, checking herself out like she was rehearsing for someone else's eyes. I stepped back, slowly, quietly. My heart wasn't racing. It just stilled. Flattened out like someone had turned the volume down on the world. When she came out 5 minutes later, she was wearing sweatpants and one of my old hoodies. She smiled. Kissed my cheek. Asked if I wanted Thai or pizza for dinner. I said, "Whatever you feel like." Her voice was light. Casual. As if the last 5 minutes hadn't happened. As if I didn't just watch her admire herself in something I never gave her, with a look in her eyes I hadn't seen in years. That night, we ate on the couch. She sat close. Leaned her head against my shoulder like everything was fine. But I kept seeing those straps. That lace. That smirk she gave herself in the mirror. I waited until she fell asleep. Then I went back to the bedroom and checked her drawer. Top left corner, a black bag. Unlabeled. Inside, 2 more sets I didn't recognize. All expensive. All delicate. Not one price tag attached. She hadn't bought them recently. She'd been wearing them for a while. I just hadn't been allowed to see it. I sat down on the edge of the bed and stared at the closed closet door. And that's when I heard it. A laugh. A low, masculine laugh, muffled, from the wall behind our headboard. Where the houses connect. Where our neighbor's bedroom shares the wall with ours. The laugh didn't come again. Just that one low sound, like something private slipping through drywall, then silence. I sat still, listening. Our houses were built too close together. Townhomes. Shared walls. Thin insulation. You could hear everything, if you paid attention. And I hadn't been paying attention. Not in months. She'd said we were in a funk. That we needed space. Stopped letting me kiss her neck. Started falling asleep before I got to bed. I thought it was stress. Now I wasn't so sure. The next morning, I walked outside early. Trash day. He was already out, Mark. The neighbor. T-shirt, gym shorts, fake friendly energy. He waved. "Morning, man?" I nodded. "Morning." He looked freshly showered. Smelled like cologne. Same one I caught faintly on our bedsheets last week, but couldn't place. Now I could. We stood side by side, each dragging a bin to the curb. "Weekend plans?" he asked casually. "Not sure," I said. "Maybe just stay in. Keep things quiet." He smiled. "Quiet's good." We locked eyes for a second too long. Not aggressive. Just aware. Then he broke it. "Catch you later." Walked back up his driveway like nothing was off. But something was. That night I sat on the edge of the couch while she scrolled Instagram. I glanced at her screen, not a single picture of us. Nothing recent. Nothing tagged. Her last post with me was over 8 months ago. "Wanna watch a movie?" I asked. She didn't look up. "I'm tired." She walked off to shower. Left her phone on the coffee table. I picked it up. Didn't unlock it. Just turned it over. Face down. Like always. She said it was a habit. But now I saw it for what it was, routine concealment. When she came back out, towel around her hair, she looked surprised to see me still awake. "I thought you were going to bed." "I will," I said. "Eventually." She watched me for a second. Then walked past me, her bare feet soft against the floorboards. Later that night, I walked into the bedroom and paused. The window was cracked. Just an inch. But enough for sound to pass. And from the neighbor's side, I heard her name, laughed again. Spoken slowly. Almost like a joke. Then, a thud against the wall. I didn't sleep. And when the sun rose, I was already sitting at the computer, typing one thing into the search bar. Mini wall microphone, discreet recording. I bought 2 tiny matte black mics. One for the shared wall in the bedroom. The other for the hallway, aimed toward the door she never locked until recently. They arrived in a plain box. No branding. No paperwork. Installation took 10 minutes. I placed them late at night, while she was on a FaceTime call in the kitchen, with earbuds in, laughing like a teenager. I couldn't hear the other voice, but something about the rhythm of her giggles made my stomach turn. By midnight both devices were active. Synced to my phone. I put in my own earbuds, laid down on the couch, and stared at the ceiling. She used to hate when I slept out there. Now she didn't even ask why. At 2:06 a.m. I heard footsteps on the hardwood upstairs. Soft. Light. Deliberate. Then a knock. 3 slow taps. I held my breath. A pause. Then the bedroom door creaked open. The mic picked up a low voice. Male. Familiar. Mark. I parked on the other block, he said, chuckling. Just in case. Her voice came next, muffled, but sharp enough. Good. He's asleep. We can't be long. The blood in my ears roared. Then silence. No more words. Just the sounds of movement. Breathing. Weight shifting on the mattress. My mattress. I turned off the recording. Sat up. Body frozen, brain racing. She didn't just cheat. She invited him through the front door. Walked him into our home, into our bedroom, like it was nothing. Like I was nothing. In the morning, I played the audio again. Cold. Precise. Just enough to prove intent. Then I backed it up. 2 cloud copies. 1 flash drive. Next step, gather financials. Pull statements. Record spending. I started logging everything. Lingerie charges, unaccounted cash withdrawals, wine bottles that never made it to the dinner table. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. She wanted secrecy? I'd give her exposure. Planned. Documented. Witnessed. By the time I was finished, she wouldn't be able to say a word without it being used as evidence. But first, I needed to know how far it went. And who else already knew. Patterns started to emerge. Tuesday nights. Thursday mornings. Late Sunday afternoons when I went to the gym, or thought I was supposed to. She always smiled more on Tuesdays. Always used fresh towels on Thursdays. Always lit candles on Sundays, even if we never used them together. Mark didn't knock anymore. Sometimes I'd catch a flicker of his reflection in our front window when he passed by. Glancing, subtle, never pausing. And she started humming again. Wearing perfume inside the house. Washing her hair more often, a scent I only recognized from our early years, when she still tried. I let her. Let her play the role. Let her believe I was still convinced. I kissed her forehead like always. Offered to take her car in for servicing. Made her coffee every morning, just how she liked it. Because I knew something she didn't. I'd stopped reacting weeks ago. I was already gone, she just hadn't noticed the hollow behind my eyes. One night, we had dinner with friends. Mark and his wife, included. Yes, he had a wife. Samantha. Quiet. Thoughtful. Kept her eyes down when conversations turned loud. That night, my wife made a toast. To good neighbors and easy laughter. Everyone laughed. Mark winked at her. I watched Samantha flinch. It lasted less than a second, a twitch in her brow, a shift in her breathing. But I saw it. She knew. She didn't say it. Didn't show it. But somewhere deep down, she had put it together. And she was doing the same thing I was. Pretending. That night, I downloaded a voice-activated recorder app and set it to run during dinner. I played it back later, listened to the pitch in her voice when she said his name, The way she laughed harder when he spoke. How she used a tone she never used on me anymore. Intimacy, hidden in plain sight. She thought she was clever. But clever people don't get caught in their own patterns. They don't repeat the same door creaks. The same Thursday towels. The same lies thin as paper. The next morning, she forgot to log out of her laptop. Her email was open. I didn't need to dig far. There it was, a receipt for a rental car. 2 towns over. Pickup time, Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. She had texted me at 3:45, saying she was napping. I printed it. Added it to the folder. No confrontation. No explosion. Because when the trap closes, I want both of them inside it. Samantha started watering her plants later than usual. She always did it at dusk, soft light, cooler air. But lately it was closer to midnight. I watched from my upstairs window as she moved along the edge of their patio. No music. No wine. No joy. Just her and a blue plastic watering can, trailing in silence. Mark never came outside. Not during those moments. It made me wonder. Was he avoiding her? Or was she avoiding what she already knew? On Thursday, I left for work at 9 a.m. Turned the corner, waited 3 minutes, then doubled back. Sure enough, Mark's car was gone. But when I walked back toward my house, something stopped me. The sound of their garage door creaking shut. I paused. Listened. Then, a second car engine, smaller, pulling out slowly behind the alley. She was leaving after he left. Like they staggered their exits on purpose. Back at home, I opened the hallway closet and found something I hadn't noticed before. A shirt. White. Buttoned down. Too large for her, too slim for me. Still smelled like aftershave. I held it up. Checked the tag. Not mine. Not new. I folded it neatly, placed it in a Ziploc bag, and added it to the folder. Labeled it, shirt, unknown, found March 22nd. Each item was a tile in the mosaic. I wasn't looking for a smoking gun anymore. I was building the full mural. Color. Pattern. Shape. Motive. By Saturday, I had 16 video files, 8 audio logs, and a printed trail of deceit that ran nearly 2 months deep. And still, I said nothing. Because something else had changed. Samantha had started looking at me. Not with flirtation. Not with pity. With recognition. At the mailbox. In the driveway. Even through the curtains, just long enough to say, I see you. So I made a choice. I left a note in her mailbox. Small. Folded tight. If you ever want to talk, I'll be on the porch after 10. No pressure. That night she didn't come. But the light in their kitchen stayed on until 3 a.m. And I knew she was reading. Thinking. Counting patterns of her own. The trap was almost ready. But I didn't want to spring it alone. Sunday night. 10:17 p.m. I sat on the porch with a mug in my hands and the folder beside me. Didn't open it. Didn't need to. The air was still, heavy with spring moisture. The kind that clings to your skin and makes every sound feel closer. Her screen door creaked open. Soft steps on wood. She didn't sit right away. Just stood near the edge of the railing, arms crossed, hoodie zipped up, eyes on the dark street ahead. We didn't greet each other. Didn't say her name or mine. After a long pause, she said, "It's him, isn't it?" I nodded. And her. Another silence. "I knew," she said, voice tight. "But I didn't want to know. Not for sure." I looked over. Her jaw was clenched, throat working to keep steady. "I thought it was me," she whispered. "Maybe I wasn't enough anymore. Maybe he just needed space. They always say that," I said. She turned to me slowly. "You have proof?" I tapped the folder. Photos. Audio. Receipts. Footage. She didn't reach for it. Didn't have to. Her face answered for her. "They laughed about us," I added. "Used our routines like camouflage. Her eyes closed. They used our homes? She said. Our beds. My shirt, I said. He left one. She let out something between a laugh and a gasp. Then sat down next to me, not touching, just close enough to feel real. What are you going to do? She asked. I'm not sure yet. But when I move, it won't be private. She nodded. I want to be there. I looked at her. She meant it. Not to gloat. Not for revenge. For closure. For reality. I handed her a small USB. Labeled, Partial. Week 1. She took it without looking. Tucked it into her sleeve. When? She asked. Soon. I'll let you know. We sat in silence for another 10 minutes. Then she stood. No goodbye. No glance. The door clicked shut behind her. And for the first time since this started, I didn't feel like I was the only one awake in the fire. By Monday, the list was clear in my head. 3 names. Her parents, because she always said I was like a son to them. Our mutual friend Greg, the guy who introduced us, and still thought we were solid. Samantha, because she deserved front row seats to the lie that had unfolded through her wall. I wasn't doing this for spectacle. I was doing it for clarity. For silence, after the noise. I called Greg first. Told him we were planning a small dinner next Saturday. Said I wanted to surprise her, maybe. Apologize for being distant. He sounded excited. That's good, man. You two were always solid. I'm glad you're working through it. I smiled into the phone. Me too. Then I called her mother. Played the same note, reconciliation. Said I wanted them present, that she'd be touched. They agreed without hesitation. Her father sounded cautious, but didn't push. That was enough. Now I had the guests. All I needed was the final performance. That night, she came home later than usual. Hair done. Eyes glowing. A new top. Black silk. Sorry, she said. Jenna and I went shopping, lost track of time. I looked up from my laptop. No worries. I ordered in pad thai. Extra peanuts. She beamed. Kissed the top of my head. And for a moment I almost felt it, the ghost of something warm, like a flicker from an old match. But ghosts don't belong in the present. After dinner, she went to shower. I walked into the bedroom, checked the corner of the closet where she kept her spa stuff. Same black lace set. Still folded. Still ready? It wasn't for me. Not anymore. It hadn't been for weeks. I stared at it for a long time. Then placed a tiny folded note beneath it. For words, all uppercase. I know. All of it. No name. No accusation. Just confirmation. Let her feel it tomorrow, when she went to get ready. Let it land on her like a needle to the spine. Let her wonder if I'd known for days, or since the first lie. The walls of this house were no longer hers. They were wired. Logged. Dated. And I wasn't the husband on the couch anymore. I was the man behind the curtain. She found the note the next morning. I heard her open the closet. The metal hanger rattled once, then went still. A pause. Then the faintest sound of paper crinkling. She didn't call my name. Didn't walk into the hallway. Didn't ask what the hell it meant. She just stayed there. Frozen. Silent. I imagined her staring at it in her hands. Turning it over. Reading it again. Trying to decide what I knew. When I knew it. How deep the cut ran. She came downstairs 10 minutes later. Makeup on. Clothes neat. Hair perfect. But her eyes. Her eyes looked like glass. Fake brightness. No center. Just reflection. You sleep okay? She asked, voice casual. I nodded. Yeah. Out like a rock. She grabbed her keys, leaned in. Normally, she kissed my cheek before leaving. This time, she hesitated. Then touched my shoulder instead. I'll be back late. Jenna wants to vent about her breakup. I smiled. Tell her I said hi. She froze, just slightly. A millisecond too long. Then walked out. I waited until her car turned the corner, then checked the camera feed. She didn't go to Jenna's. She drove 2 blocks and pulled into Mark's driveway. Didn't even knock. He opened the door the second she stepped onto the porch. They kissed before the door closed. The hallway camera caught her smile in the reflection. It didn't bother me. Not anymore. It confirmed what I needed. At 1:37 p.m., I sent Samantha a message. Saturday. 6 p.m. My place. Don't bring anything, just come. She replied instantly. I'll be there. I forwarded her the guest list. She sent back one word. Perfect. That evening, my wife came home at 9:12 p.m. Hair messy. Cheeks flushed. Smelling like aftershave that didn't belong to me. She dropped her bag by the door. Looked at me on the couch. You hungry? She asked. Already ate. She nodded, grabbed a bottle of wine, and poured herself a glass. Didn't ask if I wanted any. Didn't sit next to me. Just stood by the counter and drank, staring at the refrigerator like it owed her an answer. And I thought, you don't even know this house is preparing to evict you. Not with shouting. Not with violence. But with something sharper. Proof. Witnesses. Precision. She fell asleep fast that night. I heard her breathing shift from shallow to rhythmic in minutes. Back turned to me. One arm tucked under her pillow, the same way she used to sleep when she felt safe. I stared at the ceiling, motionless. My body didn't hurt. My mind wasn't racing. But something inside me sank. Not like a crash. Like a slow descent, the way ships don't break apart but slide under the surface, quietly. I reached over to the nightstand drawer and pulled out the letter. It wasn't for her. It was the one I started months ago, back when I still thought we were fixable. Back when I blamed myself for her silence. For her distance. For how often she flinched when I touched her hand. I'd written lines like, I know I've been absent. I want to be better. If you're unhappy, please don't bury it. Bring it to me. I'd never shown it to her. Because she never asked for anything. She just started dressing up on Thursdays and hiding her smile when Mark texted her from across the table. I folded the letter slowly. Ripped it in half. Then in half again. And again. Tiny squares. Soft white pieces of who I used to be. I placed them in the bathroom trash and laid back down. Her phone buzzed once around 2:14 a.m. Screen lit up the ceiling faintly. I glanced over. Mark. Still thinking about earlier. Next time, no talking. Just you, that lace, and silence. She didn't wake. She'd set it to vibrate. But forgot to flip it face down. And now, her face, the same one I kissed for 8 years, looked calm in the glow of another man's name. I stood and walked to the kitchen. Sat in the dark with a glass of water. Didn't drink it. Didn't blink. In the corner of the living room, under a small lamp, was the photo we took in Aspen. Her hair was longer then. My arms around her waist. Her fingers gripping my wrists like we were a single thing. I picked up the frame. Turned it over. Behind it, tucked between the glass and cardboard backing, was a folded receipt. From a boutique I didn't recognize. Item. Black lace 3-piece. Paid in cash. Date 6 weeks ago. She'd hidden it right there, behind the only picture we hadn't yet taken off the wall. That told me everything. She wasn't sloppy. She was sentimental. She left the receipt not because she forgot, but because some part of her wanted it to be found. And now it had been. By Friday, the house was a stage. Every room rehearsed. Every light bulb checked. Every angle considered. The dinner was set for Saturday. 6 people. 2 liars. And 1 man who no longer had anything left to lose. I spent the day finalizing the folder, not the old one, but the presentation version. Simplified. Clean. Chronological. Audio highlights, timestamps, headphones prepped. Photos, printed, high-res, numbered. Messages, screen captures with contact info visible. The receipt from the lace boutique, circled in red. Each piece fit perfectly. Not because I wanted drama, but because I needed her reality to collapse on contact. No exit. No loopholes. No maybe. At 3 p.m., Samantha stopped by. No knock. She slipped in through the back door I'd left cracked. We didn't say much. I handed her a sealed envelope. Inside, her own copy. Everything she needed to walk, file, and burn the last bridge without looking back. She held it tightly. I don't know what I'll say. You don't have to, I said. You'll only have to watch. She nodded. Eyes unreadable. Then, what happens after? I rebuild, I said. Not for her. Not with anyone. Just for me. She gave a small nod. Didn't smile. Just turned and left. And I realized something as I watched her go. She wasn't broken. She was waiting, just like me, for someone to finally confirm what she already knew. That night, my wife came home early. Bought groceries. Made dinner. Played music in the kitchen. She even tried to dance with me, pulling my arm while stirring pasta. You've been quiet lately, she said. I like it. You're calmer. I smiled. I've been thinking, I told her. Maybe we should have people over. Like old times. She lit up. Really? Tomorrow night. Her smile froze for a second, then came back too fast. That's sudden. I miss our people. Don't you? She nodded, slowly. Sure. That could be nice. She poured 2 glasses of wine. Handed me one. Clinked it. To second chances? She said. I held her gaze. To full circles. She took a sip. I didn't. And that night, while she slept curled up beside me, I whispered something I hadn't said in weeks. Not because I meant it, but because I wanted it to be the last time she ever heard it from me. I love you. Because tomorrow, I'd make sure those words never fit her again. Saturday. 5:58 p.m. The table was set. 6 seats. 1 bottle of wine already opened. Salmon in the oven. Music low, instrumental jazz, the kind she used to say felt expensive. I wore a dark button-down. Rolled sleeves. Clean shave. She came down in a burgundy dress I hadn't seen in over a year. She smiled like it was an anniversary. You look sharp, she said. So do you. We moved through the motions like strangers reenacting something we used to believe in. At 6:10, the doorbell rang. Greg arrived first. Big grin, warm hug, completely unaware. Behind him, her parents, dressed up, hopeful. Her mother brought dessert. Samantha arrived last. Quiet. Simple blouse. No makeup. But her eyes held something sharp. The 6 of us sat down. My wife poured wine, laughed at something Greg said. She reached across the table once to touch my wrist, fingers light, performative. And then, just as the plates were cleared and her mother started to compliment the food, I stood. Thank you all for coming, I said. I know this was last minute, but I wanted to share something. I walked to the buffet drawer and pulled out the folder. She watched me, smile still fixed, until she saw the cover. Black. Thick. Labeled. The parts you never saw. Her smile twitched. Just slightly. I've been quiet lately, I said. Not because I gave up, but because I finally understood. I looked at each face. Samantha, thank you for coming. I think what you're about to see will mean more to you than anyone. Now my wife's smile was gone. Just lips. Still. Pressed. I opened the folder. Laid out the first photo, her in the mirror. Black lace. The set I never bought. Her mother's hand went to her mouth. I placed down the second, a screen cap of Mark's message. The one about silence, lace, and no talking. Greg leaned back. Then the audio. I played 20 seconds only. enough to hear her voice whisper. "He's asleep. We can't be long." Her father looked like he'd been slapped. Still, she said nothing. No denial. No tears. No apologies. Just silence. Then I placed the receipt, the one behind the Aspen photo, directly in front of her. "You left it there for me," I said. "Maybe because some part of you knew this day would come." She finally spoke. "I can explain." I shook my head. "No. You won't." I looked around the table. "To everyone here, this is not revenge. This is clarity. This is me stepping off the stage." Then I turned to Samantha. "Would you like to say something?" She stood, reached into her purse, pulled out her own copy of the file. "No. I think the paper speaks louder than I ever could." And just like that, the dinner turned into a reckoning. She didn't cry. Didn't scream. Didn't call me crazy. She just sat there, perfectly still, as the truth filled every inch of space between us. Her mother looked devastated. Her father refused to meet her eyes. Greg cleared his throat, shifted in his chair, but didn't say a word. Samantha sat calm, hands folded over her copy of the file, like she'd been waiting years for this. "You planned this," my wife finally said. Voice flat. Barely audible. "Yes," I replied. Down to the wine. The music. The silence. Her eyes flicked toward Samantha. "You brought her here, to humiliate me?" "No," I said. "I brought witnesses." Her mother finally spoke. "I don't understand. You told us you were working things out." "She lied," I said simply. "To you. To me. To everyone. While he was climbing through our front door." She shook her head. "It wasn't like that." Samantha cut her off. "I know what it was like. I've heard it through the wall." The room froze. Samantha looked straight at her. "You said his name?" Loud. More than once. My wife's mouth opened, but no words came. Greg looked down at the table. "I don't think I should be here." "You are," I said. "Because you introduced us. Because you vouched for her. Because this is what she did with that trust." My wife tried to stand. I held up a hand. "Sit. We're not done." She sat. "Next week," I continued, "you'll receive the finalized separation terms. No contest. You've already waived your share in the house by allowing an unauthorized guest. I have the footage. The receipts. The messages. This gathering tonight? Legal confirmation. You can't do this." "I already have." She turned to her parents. "Mom, Dad, please." Her father spoke then, for the first time. "No." That one word cut more than anything I'd said. She leaned back slowly in her chair, eyes dull. Not furious. Not frightened. Just emptied. Samantha stood. "I've said what I came to say." She nodded at me once, then turned and walked out without looking back. Greg followed. Then her parents. Leaving her alone. With me. She looked at me like she didn't recognize the man across the table. "You really never loved me," she whispered. "No," I said. "I did. That's why I waited so long before finally seeing you clearly." She covered her face with both hands. Not crying. Just hiding. I stood, picked up the folder, and walked away. Behind me, the chair creaked as she finally broke. But I didn't turn around. Because nothing she could say now would mean anything more than what she'd already done. She left the next morning. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't ask for forgiveness. Just packed in silence while I drank coffee in the kitchen and watched the backyard slowly fill with light. At 9:24 a.m., the front door closed behind her. No slam. No drama. Just a click, quiet and absolute. I waited 5 minutes. Then locked it. Twice. Walked to the master bedroom. Opened every drawer. Checked every box. She left behind everything that didn't matter. A scarf, a broken hairbrush, old flats with peeling soles. But the jewelry? The photo albums? The love notes she once forced me to keep in a shoebox? Gone. She only took what served her next chapter. I expected it. At 10:15, Marcus, my lawyer, called to confirm she'd already received the separation documents via email and courier. All she had to do was sign. Everything else had been executed while the dinner played out. He sounded impressed. You played the long game. It was never a game, I said. Not to me. He was silent for a beat. Then, you want the restraining order active immediately? Yes, I replied. Today. By noon, her access to everything was revoked. Alarm code changed. Wi-Fi reset. Streaming passwords updated. Even the garage remote reprogrammed. I left a cardboard box by the curb with her name on it. Labeled, Final Items. Do not return. It held exactly 3 things. Her second phone. The lingerie receipt. The wedding ring she stopped wearing 6 months ago and claimed she'd misplaced. I didn't care whether she picked it up. I just wanted it out. That afternoon, I cleaned the bedroom from top to bottom. Not rage cleaning. Just removal. The sheets, the mattress topper, the throw blanket she'd insisted on keeping despite the holes, all bagged, sealed, gone. The space didn't feel lonely. It felt untouched. At 6:02 p.m., I lit one candle in the hallway. Not for her. Not for me. Just because the air finally felt still again. And I wanted to remember that moment. The exact second piece returned to the walls. Mark waved at me the next morning. Same fake smile. Same careless posture. As if nothing had shifted. As if he still had the upper hand. I didn't wave back. Just stared. He paused for half a second, his hand halfway raised, then turned and went inside without another glance. That was the first crack. By noon, he knocked on my door. 3 soft taps. I let him knock. When I finally opened, I didn't step aside. Hey, he said, eyes darting behind me. I heard she moved out. I said nothing. She okay? He asked, trying to look casual. Still nothing. He cleared his throat. Look, I wanted to say, if you ever want to grab a beer, talk things out. I handed him a sealed envelope. Thick. Heavy. Inside, printed messages, audio transcripts, doorbell footage. He blinked. What's this? Read it, I said, and closed the door. Didn't slam it. Didn't lock it. Just closed it. 5 minutes later, I heard his front door slam hard enough to shake the frame. That night, Samantha texted me. He's gone. Packed a bag. No explanation. I replied. That's his style. He doesn't finish what he breaks. She didn't answer, but I saw the red icon. Later that evening, I stepped out onto the porch. The street was quiet. His car was gone. No music through the shared wall. No laughter. No footsteps. I sat with a beer in hand, not drinking it. Just listening to the absence. It was louder than anything they'd done. At 11:46 p.m., a soft knock at the back door. Samantha. No words. She handed me something small, a gold chain with his initials. He gave it to me when we got married, she said. Told me to never take it off. I looked at it. Thin. Cheap. Tarnished near the clasp. Keep it, I said. I don't want to. Then drop it. She stared at me for a second, then let it fall onto the porch steps. We both watched it hit the wood. No bounce. No noise. Just stillness. Now what? She asked. Now we live in quiet houses, I said. She nodded, eyes soft but unreadable. And without another word, she turned and walked home. I let the chain sit there all night. By morning, it was gone. He didn't come back. Not that week. Not the one after. No car in the driveway. No slamming doors. No "hey man" across the trash bins. The house next door looked empty, not in the way that furniture makes it look empty, but in the way that shame clears out a place faster than movers ever could. Samantha didn't speak to me for a few days after she dropped the chain. Not because there was tension, because there was nothing left to say. We'd both burned the bridge and were walking on clean ground now. One night I saw her out front, cutting down the ivy she'd planted along the fence years ago. It used to climb between our yards, soft and green. She took a pair of garden shears and ripped it out at the root. Didn't even glance at my side. That told me everything I needed to know. By Friday, I had replaced the front lock. Not because I thought she'd come back, but because I didn't want her key sitting in a drawer somewhere, still believing it had a place here. I walked the house one room at a time. Took inventory. There were dents in the hardwood from furniture she insisted on moving by herself. Scratches on the guest room doorknob, from the time she locked herself in during a fight and said she needed space. Lipstick stains on a coffee mug I almost threw away, but didn't. I put it in a box labeled evidence. Not for court. Not for anyone else. For me. To remember how deep it went. How she smiled while she destroyed. And how I let her. I opened her old desk drawer, one I hadn't touched since she left, and found a folded note. Written in my handwriting. I unfolded it slowly. It was the draft of a letter I'd written the month before I caught everything. Apologizing. Begging. Offering to take therapy, change jobs. Fix myself. I read it twice. Then I lit a match. Watched the flames take it. Small. Controlled. Like her voice when she lied. Later that night, I sat on the back porch. The wind moved softly through the fence where the ivy used to grow. No more creaks. No more shadows on the wall. Just air. Space. Neutral quiet. And for the first time, I understood. It wasn't about forgiveness. It was about subtraction. Not healing. Removal. The first weekend alone felt foreign. No errands I didn't want to run. No questions about what I was doing on my phone. No sideways glances at the laundry basket she never emptied. I woke up to silence. Not the absence of sound, the presence of peace. I spent the morning scrubbing the kitchen tiles. Not because they needed it. Because I finally had the mental space to. Under the fridge, I found one of her earrings. The gold ones with the small black stones, the pair she used to wear on neighbor nights. I held it in my palm for a full minute. Then walked to the trash and dropped it in without a word. Closure doesn't come in one moment. It comes in layers. At 2 p.m., I walked to the closet and removed the last of her things I hadn't touched yet, the gray coat she always said made her feel like a movie character. Still smelled like her perfume. I sealed it in a garment bag and carried it to the Goodwill bin by the supermarket. Didn't leave a note. Didn't second guess. She had chosen who she was when she wore it. Let someone else give it a new memory. When I got home, I took a box cutter and opened the cabinet above the fridge, the one she always kept locked with a stupid baby-proof latch. Inside, old journals. A spare key to Mark's house. 3 Polaroids folded together with a rubber band. I didn't look at them. I didn't need to. I fed them directly into the shredder. It clicked and groaned like it, too, was tired of carrying what wasn't mine. I kept only one thing, the spare key. I walked next door. No lights. No sign of life. I placed the key under the doormat. Simple. Direct. A gesture. Not of kindness. Of removal. That night, I changed the ringtone on my phone, the one she used to text from when she was stuck in traffic. Muted it entirely. Then archived the last message she ever sent me. I miss how we used to be. I didn't block her. I didn't respond. I let it sit, buried beneath real things. Where it belongs. Not gone. Just done. Days blurred into rhythm. Wake. Silence. Coffee. Clean sink. Walk. Breathe. Repeat. No trace of perfume on the pillow. No unfamiliar towels. No hair stuck in the shower drain. Even the air moved differently. Like the house had recalibrated, finally aligned with the life I was actually living. I repainted the bedroom walls. Nothing drastic, just a soft slate gray. Clean. Honest. She used to insist on bold colors. Said white space felt empty. But it wasn't empty now. It was intentional. Samantha texted once. Do you ever feel stupid for not seeing it sooner? I replied. Only when I think like someone who still trusted her. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. We'd said what we needed to say, in silence, in shared glances, in the weight of absence. Mark never returned. The house next door went up for sale quietly. A "For sale by owner" sign appeared one Tuesday, crooked and sun-faded by Thursday. No open house. No flyers. Just quiet evacuation. I watched 3 couples tour it before one made an offer. The last one walked through the backyard and stopped to admire the fence. They didn't know what had seeped through those walls. What kind of secrets had been exchanged between garden beds and forced smiles. But that was the beauty of clean paint and new faces, they never asked. I deleted the last of the recordings. All the backups. The transcripts. The screenshots. Not to forget. But because I no longer needed proof to trust my version of what happened. It had happened. I survived it. I redesigned my office. Bought a new desk. Switched my calendar from whiteboard to digital. Removed her handwriting from the walls. I found one last photo stuck to the inside of a file folder. A candid shot from a camping trip. Her hand in mine, both of us laughing. For a moment I remembered what that version of her felt like. But then I remembered what came after. I put the photo in a drawer. Didn't tear it. Didn't burn it. Just closed the drawer. Not because it meant something. But because it no longer meant anything. It had been 53 days since she walked out. Not a call. Not a knock. Just one message the week prior. I'm sorry for how I made you feel. I was lost. I didn't respond. Because it wasn't an apology. It was a sentence without weight, like saying, sorry, to a room after you've already smashed the windows. I read it once. Then archived it with the rest. I kept that archive in a folder titled Proof of Fire. I didn't open it anymore. But I liked knowing it was there. Just in case memory tried to repaint her kindly. That Friday, I got a call from the realtor handling Mark's property. Your home's next door. Mind if we put a lockbox on the fence for agent access? I said. Sure. Then paused. Actually, one thing. Let the new owners know the wall's been repaired, but some echoes still linger. She laughed, not understanding. Got it. Will do. I stood at the property line later that evening. Fence newly stained. Grass trimmed. No footprints in the side yard anymore. I reached down and pulled up the last piece of ivy root that had refused to die. Flicked it into the trash with a snap. Then I sat in the garage and took stock. Tools organized. Old couple photos gone. Shelves reset with only what I used, what I needed, what I recognized as mine. It felt good. Not in a euphoric way. In a functional way. That night, I slept with the windows open. The wind moved freely through the curtains. The house didn't creak. The walls didn't listen for names that didn't belong anymore. No perfume in the fabric. No breath that didn't match mine. I dreamed of nothing. And woke up rested. At 7:03 a.m., I made coffee. Not 2 cups. Just one. Drank it slow. Watched the sun rise through the kitchen window she used to hate because of the glare. And I smiled. Not because I was healed. Not because I won. But because she no longer had access to even this version of me. The one that woke up. Made coffee. And didn't think of her first. The locks had been changed. The furniture rearranged. But the real shift came quietly, on a Tuesday, around noon. I was standing in the hallway with a hammer in one hand and a framed photo in the other. It was the last one still hanging, our wedding picture. Not a big one. Not fancy. Just her smile, tilted into my chest, eyes closed like she trusted where she was. For a long time, I didn't move. I didn't feel anger. Or nostalgia. Just wait. Then I lowered the frame. Took it off the wall. Placed it face down on the entry table. I didn't smash it. Didn't burn it. Just ended it. The hook it hung on remained. I left it there. A reminder that some things hang long after they've lost their meaning. Later that day, I filed the last of the paperwork with Marcus. Final asset verification. Property retention confirmed. No contest from her side. She didn't even show up. Just a signature, scanned and emailed, like we were closing a utility account. I asked Marcus, "Is that it?" He nodded. She waived everything. You walk with the house, the car, the full account, and clean title. And the rest? He met my eyes. Gone. On paper. And in practice. He handed me a stamped copy and shook my hand. You were smart, he said. No, I replied. I was quiet. I left his office and drove home with the windows down. The air smelled like cut grass. Like endings. At the first red light, I realized I didn't feel anything. No thrill. No bitterness. Just clarity. She had tried to fracture me, slowly, precisely. Lie by lie. Smirk by smirk. Until I didn't know if I was still me. But I had held the line. Waited. Listened. Documented. Then walked her out of the life she thought she owned. I pulled into the driveway, unlocked my door, and stood in the center of the living room. No shadows. No ghosts. Just me. The man she thought would sleep on the couch forever. The fool. The one who paid the bills while she whispered someone else's name into the pillow. But now I moved how I wanted. Spoke when I chose. And slept in my bed without checking the walls for voices that didn't belong. Because the house was mine again. And so was everything inside it. There's a room at the back of the house she never liked. Small. Bare. Window faces the fence line. Too much shade. Not enough view. She always called it dead space. Said we should turn it into something, office, gym, guest room. We never did. After she left, I opened the door again. Dusted the corners. Replaced the bulb. Painted the walls white. For no reason. Not to make something new. Just to remind myself that some rooms don't need a purpose to be peaceful. I sit in there sometimes now. Door open. Feet bare against the wood. No noise. No intention. Just air and quiet. That's the thing no one tells you. Closure isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It arrives like clean light across a floor you forgot existed. The last time I saw her was 3 weeks ago. I was walking through the grocery store. She was in the wine aisle, alone, distracted. Wearing a coat I didn't recognize. She looked up. Paused. I nodded once. She didn't smile. Didn't speak. Just held the bottle tighter and turned the other way. There was nothing left to say. Not because the pain was gone, but because it finally knew its place. In the past. In the parts one let go. In the box I taped shut and never labeled. In the voice that once made me believe I was hard to love. She tried to build a life in the walls of mine. Tried to repurpose trust as convenience. Tried to rewrite loyalty as weakness. But I let her finish the story. Then I wrote the ending myself. She once told me I was too quiet. Too careful. Too slow. And maybe I was. But that's why I didn't react. That's why I stayed silent. That's why I saw everything. And that's why, when the time came, I took it all back without raising my voice. She thought I was soft. Turns out, I was the storm waiting in the structure.